Hey there, this is Nick Zager and Remy is Dana. We are Mirlo Real Estate Partners. Welcome to the Denteligentsia podcast. Here we want to talk about how to best prepare for your next commercial lease transaction, whether you are a early career dentist, newer dentist, or mid-career dentist. I think this this discussion will serve you well. And so this is a process that we typically use when that we go through with our clients, and wanted to share it so that anybody who's watching can have a good understanding of our process.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive into this topic because your lease payment or your mortgage payment for that matter will will become your second highest business expense after payroll. And in the case of a startup, it's going to be your highest expense for a while. And our process really is built on the foundation of a needs analysis, right? It's is as it sounds. It's an opportunity for us to get to understand what our dentists are looking to do based on their business model, based on their vision, what type of practice they want to operate, whether they're a generalist or a specialist. It's an opportunity for us to establish our direction on the real estate side of things.
Absolutely. So we typically start with making sure that our dentists, our dental clients, put together a strong business plan. This business plan is going to kind of be the foundation for their practice going forward, and it should outline all the key important points, like who they want to serve, what type of you know what they I would say, what type of procedures they like to perform. You'll also there will be some significant visioning inside of this, so that you know as you become a practice owner, you have a good roadmap to get to where you need to go.
Yeah, we spend our time in one of three places, and often all three at the same time, and that's establishing and building market knowledge. It's establishing and building deal knowledge and building relationships. And we implore all three when we're doing a needs analysis. We obviously need to understand the market to provide direction on where we want to open a practice, whether it's a startup or an expansion, relocation. And once we understand that, then we start to look at specific spaces, and really we're looking at three different types of buildings at the end of the day. We're looking at retail opportunities, we're looking at office buildings, and we're looking at medical office buildings, depending on the practice, and again, understanding where they want to be. And once we understand that, then we can start to work on the space itself. And at the end of the day, it's all a consideration of revenue generating space, right? How many
Yeah.
operatories, and then we'll build all of the ancillary components and infrastructure around that.
Yeah, so that's a good one, because ultimately you can only make as much money as how many operatories you have, and your job as a dentist is to keep those operatories as full as possible. So that begs the question, what size you know what size space, I mean, should I take a how do I pick? Do I pick a 2,000 square foot space? Do I take a 3,000 square foot space?
Yeah, there's some scary scenarios, when considering how much space to take, right? And I'll just state the obvious, that there's the obvious concern of taking too much space, right? Especially if you're leasing, every square foot you take that you don't use, you pay for. On the other hand, if you don't commit to enough space to grow into, this is future planning, future thinking over the next 5, 7, 10 years. It's even scarier to think that you have 5 years left on a lease and you've outgrown your space, and now you're faced with the prospect of turning away new patients or prospective new patients to your competitors. And it's a tricky balance that we consider on every project every day.
Yeah, I mean, I think switching gears, we want to, there's a couple different components that are really important to a lot of our clients. One of them is visibility. and also with that comes signage. A lot of times, you want to be at the corner of Main and Main, right smack dab in the middle of things, so everybody can see you. I don't think that is necessarily a prerequisite, but it certainly doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I hate to liken anything to my 7-year-old's world, but a part of our needs analysis is also understanding wants versus needs. And my kids come home all the time when they've learned about what they need versus what they want, and then they remind us in our own lives, which is always a scary conversation. But it's trying to understand what our clients need and what they want, and we go out there every day and try to get them everything that they want, but we make sure that they have everything they need.
100%.
And yeah,
A place that is sometimes a challenging place to be for both us and our clients is parking. Parking is one of the number one things that makes a certain location viable or not viable, because the amount of money that you as a dentist is going to be investing inside of a space, it really has to work. And parking and the proximity of the parking to the front door of your building, that plays a major role.
Parking, and there's two considerations for parking. Right? I think we often hear from our clients who are, especially the savvier ones who have done this before, is, does the parking comply with the ordinance, in other words? And that's a different question, and carries a different answer than, is there enough parking to practically support the practice? Often there are enough spots to comply and meet the ordinance for dentistry or dental, but there isn't enough practical parking to support staff and patients throughout the day. And so that's, again, understanding, to your point, parking is a major consideration, and you need a lot of it. That's the bottom line. You need a lot of it. You can't have too much.
Yeah, you can't have too much. The more the merrier. Then we can talk about some of the fun stuff like design. Like that is it's an opportunity for you to kind of put your own personal touch into your practice, because this is your showpiece. This is your legacy. When people come to visit you, you have to think about what their experience is. And so, what is it going to be like for them when they walk in your front door and are greeted by your reception staff, and then shuffled into into an operatory. So
And
all those things need to be well thought out.
yeah, and sadly, often overlooked is not only the patient experience, but what is the staff experience, right? Your staff, you as the dentist and your staff are in a space more than you are in your own home, and so you want to make sure that space is comfortable to work in, be in, live in, every day for years and years, right? And so happy people do happy work, and it's something we talk about on a daily basis with our clients. It's not just a consideration for patient experience, but what's your life going to be like in that space every day?
Well, lastly, when we think about a needs analysis, we need to understand what your timing is. If you're a new, if you're new to private practice, I'm sure it is as soon as possible. You have to understand that the process can take from start to finish 9 months to a year. The construction process alone could probably take somewhere between 4 to 6 months, depending on the situation. But more importantly, if you bought a practice and it's time to buy a building, or you bought a practice and or you have an existing lease and you are considering relocating or expanding your facility, understanding when your lease expires and what your holdover provision is, and all of those moving parts is really important.
Yeah, you know, we've been doing this long enough to know that when we are in an initial meeting and the doctor says we want to be open in 4 or 5 or 6 months, we can't laugh in their face because that's rude, but that's just not realistic in with this type of project in healthcare. And so, again, we could do a whole topic and cast on our pod on timing, but it's critical. It all starts with timing, and then we build on everything from there.
So we've covered the basics, gone through the needs analysis at a, not at a high level. And once you've really thought through a lot of those considerations, it's time to educate yourself to the market. What that means is hire a broker, hire somebody like us who can not just, go on LoopNet or CoStar and find what spaces are available. We have inside market knowledge. We know the other brokers. We know the landlords. We know what they're known for. But additionally, when you hire someone like us, they know that you're sophisticated. They know that you're serious, and that they know that we know the market because we're inside of it every day.
Yeah, don't drive around calling the people that are on those signs in front of the buildings you like. 5 years ago, I would never have incorporated this into our introductory meetings with dentists, but today I do. I say, if you are going to drive around, and it can be helpful as much as it can be challenging. If you're driving around and you see something you love, just text us the address, send us the address. We'll investigate it and we'll set up a call. But don't call that number. And if it's not us, then whoever you're working with. But again, don't drive around practicing DIY real estate, calling the people's names on the signs in front of the building that you like.
It's really expensive. And if you go through the process the wrong way, you can open yourself up to, the process could be never ending and just take way too long. But also you could, lose tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars inside of a negotiation because you don't understand what's at stake.
And you never know what happened. That's right. I mean, there's plenty of people that transact, plenty of doctors who do deals directly with landlords or sellers, and everything felt okay. Nothing went wrong, but at the end of the day, you likely left tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table, and you didn't even know it.
Yeah, our process, we would keep those landlords at an arm's length and make them compete for your business the same way that the banks are going to compete for your business, for example. And so they need to give you their best shot, essentially.
Yeah, and speaking of the banks and the lenders, we couldn't do what we do without all of our third party dental vendors that we work with on every project, and who we really rely on. And I lost my train there.
Well, ultimately, we can wrap it up here. You need to determine your space needs and your needs as a small business owner. Do some market research and hire a tenant representative to help guide you through the process. Again, thank you so much. I'm Nick.
I'm Remy.
And we're Mirlo Real Estate Partners. Thank you for watching.